7 weeks after Superstorm Sandy hit the East Coast, recovery is ongoing for many communities affected by the storm. On Saturday, dozens of residents, concerned citizens, and Occupy activists rallied, sang songs, and marched to bring attention to the slow pace of recovery in the Rockaways, a group of barrier islands that suffered extensive flooding due to Superstorm Sandy. More than 7,000 Rockaway properties are too damaged for authorities to restore power. Community organizers say many are still living without heat and water.
My neighbor got no heat. My neighbor got no heat. My neighbor got no light. My neighbor got no light. Think about Far Rockaway. Think about Far Rockaway. Before you sleep tonight. Before you sleep.
Many, like 12-year-old Rockaway resident Kakili Hoare, say there's been a lack of resources available to local residents compared to more affluent areas affected by the storm.
People should be fixing up people's houses because some people don't even have houses right now. Some people have houses but it has mold. Some people has been without electricity for like 2 months and so on. And they're not doing anything about it. And in Manhattan right now, everything is fixed. They fixed the power lines in Manhattan, everything. Why can't they do the same for Far Rockaway? No questions answered.
Residents are also concerned about the harmful mold growing in flood-damaged houses. Resident Virginia Deer, who worked with Occupy Sandy to organize the day's actions, says she's been personally affected.
Our home right now, actually, the entire first floor is completely just gutted out, and there's still mold there. I mean, they tell us what to do in order to remediate the mold, but it doesn't work. So then what are we supposed to do after that when we don't have enough information about what to do? We don't have enough resources or manpower and actually to do what needs to be done.
Deer's home has had its power restored, but she continues to live with relatives in a 2-bedroom apartment with 9 other people. Like many other residents, Deer is unsure when it will be safe to return home. Activists say they haven't seen any governmental authority take responsibility for testing for mold.
Technically, they say that if your power is restored and that if your electricity is there, that you can go back in. But they don't have any way to prove whether or not the mold is bad enough for you to go back in. So those assessment measures have not really been put into place. So even if it's said, okay, you can go back into your home, you don't really know 100% sure because you're not sure how to tell whether or not the mold is going to be bad enough to affect you or not. We need some kind of assessment or something so that we'll be able to tell.
Activists are concerned about serious health effects, including chronic cough, fever, and wheezing. Nasran Mohit has coordinated Occupy Sandy's medical relief efforts in the Rockaways since the storm hit.
This is something that's going to exist in this community for years to come, for months and years to come. And so if there's no, it's inevitable that the solutions have to come. There's no way around it. This community's needs have to be met, and it can't just be from volunteers and nonprofits and NGOs. It has to be a more comprehensive response, federal response. And FEMA won't handle it, the state won't handle it right now, and the city won't handle it. So we need to figure out, we need to craft our response to really, stress the urgency.
Let's rebuild! Let's rebuild! Let's rebuild!
The 2-hour winding march through storm-affected areas culminated on the last block of Beach 29th Street, a neighborhood a few hundred yards from the Atlantic Ocean that was flooded with 5 feet of water. The marchers performed songs supporting the neighborhood recovery efforts and also took part in cleanup efforts. Addressing the crowd from his front porch, a homeowner who gave his name as Carlos says he and many others are in desperate need for immediate financial assistance.
So the problem is that we filed a claim like 2 days after Sandy, and we talked to the insurance company. They said it's going to be like mid of January when we get the final report.
Yeah.
So what do we do between that? We talk to FEMA and they tell us that they cannot help us because we have flood insurance. But we told them, the money's coming on January. What happens to all the money, the concerts they're making, the money that Obama's giving away?
Some have compared aspects of FEMA's response to Sandy to that of Hurricane Katrina that affected the Gulf Coast in 2005.
One thing we've learned from Katrina is that where the resources go, where government goes, determines on who is going to live in an area.
Also taking part in the march was environmental attorney and longtime activist Joel Kupferman, who is assisting 24 Rockaway residents in their attempt to get aid from FEMA. He says many homeowners are in need of immediate financial assistance to get rid of mold and to begin rebuilding.
just for small amounts of money, we could end that problem right away. And yet FEMA has in the beginning, they were promising to do outreach into the community. And as I understand it, people from Washington and FEMA are blocking that outreach, and they're basically taking a one-sided approach and not listening to the community. Neither are they listening to other federal agencies and people on the ground and city agencies that are basically saying you have to help these people, and they're just turning a deaf ear.
A FEMA representative told FSRN he would not comment on particular cases, but the agency has already distributed $700 million to homeowners and is doing everything in their power to assist those in need. The spokesperson said homeowners who are facing delayed insurance payouts can also contact the U.S. Small Business Administration, which provides low-interest loans to homeowners and renters to repair or replace real estate. The Senate is currently debating a $60.4 billion package to pay for both the state and federal responses to and recovery from Superstorm Sandy. At the end of the march, residents also heard from longtime neighborhood resident Leon Diong, who has been living without heat and power since the storm. He said he was moved by the day's actions and that the government needs to be held accountable.
And we are still living in the smoke and living in the no heat, no hot waters. And we can't do this anymore. We cannot wait and be human. Bloomberg, you better listen to us.
Yeah! Later, activists from the Rockaways and a similar action that took place on Staten Island converged at Mayor Michael Bloomberg's house in Manhattan to demand the city do more to help residents in need. They say they will continue to pressure authorities until action is taken.
Children living in Mo.
Children living in Mo.
Now you know that ain't right.
Now you know that ain't right.
The people of the Rockaways.
People of the Rockaways
are ready to fight.
Are ready to
Reporting for The Real News and FSRN, this is Jessel Noor in New York.